If you've been sitting at your desk all day long and you're ready to loosen off, let me help you out. I have got everything you need coming right up. If you'd like to join me first of all on hands and knees, we're going to start to get some rotation into the spine. We've got hips positioned above knees, shoulders positioned above the hips. We're going to take that left hand up and lift, take a breath in. Exhale, thread the needle through and under. Inhale, lifting, twisting. Exhale, thread through and under. So as you work here on your inhale and your exhale, focus on your upper back, kind of rotating, kind of wringing itself out as it twists left and right. Let's go for one more here. And inhale, twist that upper back. Exhale, twist it the other way. Good. Back to hands and knees and just change sides. So we inhale, we lift and twist. We exhale to thread through and under. Inhale, lift and twist. Exhale, threading through and under. Again, paying extra attention, not to your shoulders, not to your hands, not to your knees, but thinking about your upper back. That is where we want this loosening and where we want this work to happen. Let's go for one more. Twist and wring out that spine. And then take it through and under. Lovely. Bring it back to your hands and knees position. Take your knees slightly wider and bring your toes together. Sink your sit bones back towards your feet and lengthen your hands forwards along the mat for a wide leg child's pose. You can either rest your chin or your forehead on the mat to take pressure off the neck here. So we're starting to open up into your hips, and then to stretch your back, grip the mat, push the mat forwards as if you're trying to press it away, and lengthen your sit bones back towards those feet. Take 3 deep breaths into the back. If you're enjoying the wide knees, keep the wide knees. Otherwise, bring your feet back, your knees back to a more parallel position. We're just going to stagger one hand forwards and one hand backwards in the child's pose. And just reach forwards, forwards, forwards with that one hand. So we bias the side stretch. Take a couple of deep breaths, lengthening the sit bone back as the fingertips reach forward. Breathing deeply. And change hands, stagger one forwards, one back. Lengthen the sit bones back towards the feet, stretch the fingertips forwards, breathe deeply. Bring both hands back to a standard child's pose position and just come up onto the fingertips there to open into shoulders. Allow your shoulders to sink and open. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Bringing it back to hands and knees position. Next, take your right foot forwards. So we come into a kneeling lunge on the right side. You want to kind of creep those toes forwards so that you can allow your hips to sink quite low into the lunge. If you're wobbly, grab a block in each hand on each side of you to balance, or bring fingertips or fists to the mat here. So we're in this kneeling lunge. Quite important that you try and square your hips forwards, because quite often our body accommodates, it cheats a little bit. You might find that your left hip opens to the side. So try and pull your left hip forwards and draw your right hip backwards to get that squaring of the hips. Then straightening that right leg, send your bottom back into the air behind you and lengthen that spine. So we come into hamstring stretch. Take a breath or two. And we're going to travel between that kneeling lunge, bringing the weight forwards into the front foot. And then back to that hamstring stretch, sending the hips and the bottom back. So you can take your time with these, working forwards and backwards. You might be thinking, oh my goodness, one of these is really, really tight. And you might want to hold there for a little bit longer. We're just going to spend some time exploring this forwards and backwards motion. That's it, just taking those movements, squaring those hips. Starting to open up, because as we sit down, the front of our hips, our hip flexors do tend to get quite tight. So this is a really nice movement to loosen those off. Bringing the right foot back, so you come to hands and knees again, and placing the left foot forwards. We'll do the same sequence on the other side. So start to find your kneeling lunge just to start off with. And then when you've had a good kneeling lunge and squared your hips, we're going to take it back to hamstring stretch. So lengthen the sit bones and the bottom back behind you, straightening, trying to straighten that front leg. Don't worry if yours aren't straightening. And then sink forwards again to your hip flexor. So these are quite interesting because they look very different on different people, because we've all got slightly different hip makeups, slightly different tightnesses. Tight hamstrings are very pronounced in the population as well, aren't they? But I find these differ a lot, kind of day to day, week to week as well, depending how sedentary I might have been or how much stretching I've done. So even within yourself, these stretches can differ quite a lot. Again, we're still just moving gently forwards and backwards, kind of at whatever speed we want to. That's it. Again, remember, if you want those blocks, take some blocks there. And then start to bring it back to hands and knees position. So from hands and knees, we're going to find a forward fold. So tuck your toes, walk your hands back in, and then take your bottom up and your head down, so you're in your forward fold position. Just hang out, gently letting the spine move side to side, take a gentle sway. You could hold on to your elbows here for that ragdoll position as you gently sway. Let the spine find some depth and find some release. Slowly start to rebuild the spine, so soften the knees, press through the feet, find the strength in your legs, tucking the tailbone to find a neutral pelvis, and rebuilding your spine, drawing shoulder blades down, collarbones open, neck tall, and head up at the end. Lovely, we're going to take one more roll down now, so tucking that chin, tuck the ribs towards the pelvis, soften the knees, take your fingertips down in the direction of your toes, taking your forward fold. You can rest hands in the air if they're dangling there, or you can come to rest fingertips on the mat if that's approachable for you. Start to pedal through the knees, just stretching into the backs of the legs now. We're going to take a little bit of a sequence here. So when you're ready, if you can start to soften both your knees, walk your hands forwards to a nice long plank position. Holding in your plank, draw your shoulder blades down, push back through your heels, push forwards through your crown. Draw your pubic bone as if you're scooping it in towards the ribs, and that should engage your core quite nicely. Now you can either lower down to the mat here in a Pilates press up, or you could take the knees down to modify, and then slowly keep those elbows narrow, bring your chest down between your thumbs. From here, we're going to just come into a bit of a back bend, so drawing elbows and forearms onto the mat, lifting through the thoracic spine. Draw your shoulder blades down. Think about opening your collarbones and just pinch a plum or a peach-shaped object underneath your chin, and that should help you to elongate that neck. Again, draw shoulder blades down, open collarbones. Good, relaxing there. We're going to push back to child's pose, and from child's pose, roll up to standing. So tuck those toes, lift the bottom, find forward fold, and into your roll up. So that is our sequence. Let's go a few more times. Roll down when you're ready, taking that gorgeous roll, rounding through the spine. Hands to the mat, walking forwards to a plank position. Holding 2 breaths in the plank, long through the back of the body, strong at the front of the body. If you need to modify, take the knees down and then slowly Pilates press up, bringing your chest down between your thumbs. And then coming to a Sphinx type position, propping up on elbows and forearms, drawing shoulder blades down the back, open the collarbones, pinch that plum or that peach underneath your chin to lengthen the neck, holding here, pressing through the forearms, drawing shoulder blades down, and then release, relax, press back to your child's pose. And from child's pose, curl the toes and start to walk the hands in as we roll up through our standing posture, bringing tallness to your body once again. And tucking the chin, nodding the forehead, taking the fingertips toward the mat as we forward fold. walking forwards out to high plank position, drawing shoulder blades down, finding that length at the back of the body, that strength at the front, holding here for another breath. You can modify by taking the knees down first, or you can Pilates press up, slowly lower the body down towards the mat there. And then again, slide up to elbows and forearms here. Elbows are beneath shoulders, elbows directly beneath shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades down, open your collarbones wide, and get that peach underneath your chin, or that plum underneath your chin. Holding. And push back to child's pose. Let's create some strength in the back now, coming to lie down on your tummy. This is a difficult one to teach because it needs your face actually on the floor, so feel free to watch me and then get into position when you need to. I'm just going to remove my glasses so I don't squash those, and take my forehead down onto the mat. Hopefully you can still hear loud and clear. So I'm going to just lift my shoulders back off the mat. This engages the rear shoulders and the upper back. Then I'm going to float my palms off the mat. This gets a little bit of mid-back engagement. And elongate my fingertips down towards my toes. My shoulder blades draw down and the mid to low back kind of engages a little bit there. Start to lift forehead, nose and chest slightly. Keep reaching for the toes. So we're using the mid and upper and the neck here for strength. Gently relax back down. Forehead to the mat, relax hands, relax shoulders. So we can do that again together. Let's lift shoulders back, engaging rear shoulders and upper back. Lift palms, engaging mid-back. Reach down towards toes, drawing down through the base of the shoulder blades, lifting the head, the nose, and the chest. Keep reaching. And then gently relax forehead, relax hands, relax shoulders. Let's hold that for longer this time. Lifting the shoulders back. Lifting the palms, reaching for the toes as you lift head, nose and chest. Holding 4, holding 3, holding 2, holding 1 and releasing. Hands, shoulders relax. And again, shoulders back, palms lift, reach for toes, lift forehead, lift nose and hold 5, hold 4, hold 3, hold 2, hold 1 and relax forehead, hands and shoulders. And again, shoulders, lift palms, reach for the toes as we lift. Holding 5, holding 4, holding 3, holding 2, holding 1. Release head, release hands, release shoulders. Think about your neck this time. We're going to lift our shoulders, lift our palms, reach and start to lift head and nose, but keep that peach or that plum under your chin so you don't have to look forwards to the front of the mat. We're looking down here, pinching that peach. 3, hold 2, hold 1, relax head, relax hands, relax shoulders. Now stay with this one if you want to keep arms back behind you. I'm going to make this tougher by bringing hands out in front. Hands out in front just means there's more weight at the front of the body to lift. I'm going to create like a diamond shape or a triangle here and place that down just in front of my head. The reason I'm doing this is to try and keep my shoulders and elbows just kind of relaxed so that they're not reaching or overextending or trying too hard. I'm resting my forehead back on the mat again, and I'm going to lift my elbows first. As I then lift that triangle off the mat, lifting the hands, the shoulder blades turn down a little bit there. Then I'm starting to lift the head, the nose, the chest. Hold 4, hold 3, hold 2, hold 1. Take the forehead down, hands and elbows. And we go again. Lift the elbows, lift that triangle. Start to lift head, nose, drawing shoulder blades down your back. Hold 4, hold 3, hold 2, hold 1 and releasing. If your bottom is starting to really grip and your legs are starting to go, see if it helps to turn your toes in and your heels turned out to go a bit pigeon-footed. Might help to disengage your glutes a little bit. Let's get prepped and ready to go again. Lift elbows, lift triangle hands, lift the head, lift the nose, drawing shoulder blades down. Hold 4, pinching that peach, trying to get my words out there. Hold 2 and hold 1 and relax through the head, the hands and the elbows. Let's go again. Lift elbows, lift hands, forehead, nose, drawing shoulder blades down. Hold 4, hold 3, pinching peach, holding 2, holding 1, and release. Last and final, let's go. Elbows, hands, head and nose, drawing shoulder blades down, holding 4, holding 3, holding 2, holding 1, and relax. Head, hands, elbows. Now push back to your hands and knees position here, and we're just going to go for a few cat-cow movements. So starting to arch your back, lift the tailbone and look ahead of you. Open the collarbones wide. And then rounding the spine, tuck the tail, tuck the chin, and lift your back. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. Inhale to arch. Exhale, come back to neutral spine. Turn to sit onto your bottom and find a straddle position. So that's legs open fairly wide. Don't worry about how wide you can get yours, doesn't really matter. Try and get your toes to point up to the ceiling and try and sit on the sit bones. If you're rolled back and you're tucked under, it's very, very hard to keep a good spinal posture. So if you need to bend the knees to help you find the sit bones, that's great. Or pop a block underneath your bottom, that really helps to raise you up as well. Taking a nice big reach and stretch up. Breathe in, grow tall. Exhale, fold forwards with a straight spine. You might not get very far, and then start to take the hands down, and then allow your chin to tuck your head to relax and your spine to round. Keep your toes pointing up to the ceiling. Gently take a sway side to side. And you should feel this probably in the inner thighs and in the hamstrings, but maybe also into that lower back. If you really want to start getting into the low back a little bit here, you could start to walk your hands all the way over and try and reach for your ankle. You could even take the top arm and try opening it up towards the ceiling if that feels a little bit nicer. Take a deep breath. Releasing the hand back down to the ankle, walking back through center. If you just want to stay at center, absolutely stay at center. And walking over to the other ankle. Again, this might be plenty. If you want more, lift your top arm and stretch up high to lengthen out the side of the body. A couple more breaths. Back down to the ankle. And walking your hands back through to the center. Round back up through that spine and bring your legs to a more comfortable seated position. So thank you for joining me for today's class. I really hope you feel like you've moved and you've loosened off. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I'll bring you some more videos like this.